gotta make a move to a town that's right for me. Town to keep me moving, keep me grooving with some energy.
I'm pissed off. Hello, friends. Italian Bippin here. Like I so boldly claimed a few seconds ago, I'm pissed off. I thought my alien buddies were on my side, but goddamn Geeple done Luigi-fied me. I thought that sci-fi device to use was gonna kill me, but it just f***ing replaced my sensor noise with stupid f***ing Luigi sounds. I took some time to myself to really study up on this little green prick. Turns out, he's the less popular version of this other plumber guy. Don't know if you've heard of him, Mario? So it got me thinking about this whole sibling dynamic. Sure, one is more popular than the other, but in the end, this Mario guy seems to really love his brother. As a matter of fact, they seem to work together pretty well as a team. Seeing this strong familiar bond made me think of another sibling duo from video gaming history. Nathan and Sam Drake, the twins. The twins from Dead by Daylight. The twins are an odd case of a killer that is really cool conceptually, but are hardly ever played. There are reasons for this, of course, but I'll get into that when the new segment rolls around, so make sure to stick by for that. The twins are basically 1.5 killers. The older sister, Charlotte, and the mutant demon baby that's actually not a baby because behavior doesn't want to promote child violence, Victor. Let's, of course, start with their power. The twins' power, the twins' power is called Blood Bond, and grants the ability for Charlotte to unbind Victor from her stomach hole. Once unbound, you can gain control of Victor, leaving Charlotte's body to stand in place and fall asleep. Victor runs a lot faster than your average killer, has no tear radius, and can injure and down survivors. He cannot, however, break pallets, vault windows, pick up survivors, hook survivors, damage generators, or ride the big boy rides at the amusement parks. With his lack of tear radius, Victor can only be heard from his little grunting and growling when he's near. It sounds like this.
Oh, what a beautiful little angel this guy is.
Victor and Charlotte can be swapped between at the press of a button, with a brief window where Charlotte has to get her ass out of bed before being able to function. The only time you cannot switch between them is if Victor is still in your stomach hole, or Charlotte is too close to a hooked survivor. If you swap back to Charlotte while controlling Victor, he remains idle and will turn into a little motion sensor. Any survivor that gets close to Victor will be revealed with killer instinct unless they crouch walk, and can crush the little guy. Victor, no! I like to keep Victor in areas of defending, usually when I can't find anybody, or semi-near hooked survivors. This way, when you hear the heartbeat from Killer Instinct, you can switch almost instantly and get a health state. While controlling Victor, you can't see survivors' auras or scratch marks, but pools of blood appear in a bright red to help make tracking injured survivors easier. Victor can also be killed with pallets and the occasional head-on user. Victor doesn't swing a weapon like a normal killer either, but his only attack is a pounce that needs to be charged shortly. Once charged, Victor can leap pretty far. If Victor misses his pounce or collides with an object, he is vulnerable for 3 seconds for survivors to approach and punt that little son of a bitch. Okay, what the fuck? You have got to be kidding me! He also doesn't pounce well on any ramp, hill, or set of stairs, so try to avoid that when possible. If he hits an injured survivor, he downs them and can continue his rampage from there, or switch back to Charlotte so you can waltz on over and pick them up after a few years of waiting. Be aware that since downing injured survivors as Victor is very easy to chain together, you'll usually end up slugging sometimes, and that's fine. Just be prepared for people to yell at you. I know it's Dead by Daylight, you'll probably have to anyways, but seriously, just prepare. If Victor pounces on a healthy survivor, he latches onto them, applying the oblivious, broken, and incapacitated status effects until they remove him. Removing Victor takes the survivor 8 seconds to complete, and once done, stops them in place to crush him again. No! While attached to a survivor, Victor will also notify you of other survivors' positions near him with Killer Instinct. Victor will be returned to you after being crushed, but some survivors like to be cheeky little b****s and take him hostage by choosing not to remove him, running as far as they can. It's for this reason that Charlotte can choose to recall Victor at any time. However, sometimes it seems like this function straight up doesn't work. which is fantastic. Victor can also search lockers for survivors, and if he finds someone, he will trap them inside while you regain control of Charlotte to intercept. Survivors trapped in a locker by Victor must take 10 seconds to free themselves. A survivor will most likely only do this as a last-ditch effort, or if they know Charlotte is way too far away to make it to the locker in time. Last thing to note is that a survivor cannot escape through the exit gates if Victor is latched onto them. For effectively utilizing Victor, I usually like to instantly send him out at the start of the trial and injure the first survivor I see. I usually like to park Charlotte next to generators or areas I know survivors are near. Use your ability to swap between the two in order to hold two separate areas around the map. I usually try to injure survivors with Charlotte first, then send out Victor to finish the job. On the flip side, after injuring a survivor with Victor, you can also try to use the obliviousness they get when he's attached to approach with Charlotte and get a sneaky down. As for hitting your pounce, I recommend patience and being calm and collected. Inner peace. Inner peace. Inner peace! Hitting your pounce is crucial in order to not waste your power, so really try and take your time when aiming it. Getting as close as possible and pouncing instantly usually works for me, but since survivors like to run back and forth to try and get you to miss, sometimes just waiting for them to tire themselves out is a better option. On top of that, survivors know you can't vault windows or break pallets, so sometimes they will rush to the nearest window or pallet to get to the other side. Pounce during their animation to secure a good hit. Sometimes survivors will try to loot Victor as well. Be mindful of your distance to the pallet in order to not get crushed. A neat trick you can do is to charge your pounce when you think that they will drop the pallet and aim at the side that is lower to the ground. Leap on that side while the survivor is dropping the pallet in order to jump over them and hit them at the end of their animation. Another thing survivors like to do is sit at a pallet or window and repeatedly go through it to try and waste your time. I don't really have any tips for this, just try and be creative in how you approach the situation. So that's your power. Victor is really fun to play and scratches that itch of being a little gremlin baby man. Ugh. I don't know about you guys, but I've been having this strange feeling in my chest as of lately, and I think it might be allergies, but I'm not sure. The twins have always been an interesting set of characters, but have had some infamous history ever since they were released. It is for this reason that I'm introducing a brand new segment to the 101 series, for the killers that really deserve it the most. Gather round, Bipplets. It's history time. The twins sucked major ass when they first released, being one of the buggiest messes of a killer anyone has ever seen. They were even clunkier, feeling horrible to play at all times. On top of all that, certain features weren't implemented until later. For example, in the PTB, Victor wasn't able to search lockers. This meant that whenever Victor was called out to hunt down survivors, all they had to do during a chase was enter a locker and the twins couldn't do shit to them. Not only this, but recalling Victor wasn't a feature added until later as well, meaning that survivors could legitimately hold Victor hostage for the entire game, since at that point you're facing a killer with no power. Couple this with awkward hitboxes, janky animations, limited and quite shitty skin options, sluggish cooldowns, and a recurring glitch that could either tilt your screen permanently or outright block your power for the rest of the game, and you were left with one of the least played and least enticing killers in the game. Despite all of this, it took Behavior 4 goddamn years to finally give the twins the quality of life updated they needed, with most of the bugs being ironed out slowly as the years progressed. It honestly seemed like they didn't care about this killer, which sucks for reasons I'll expand upon in my rating of the chapter. Anyways, at least the twins feel great to play as now, so I'm happy about that. Alright, we're speeding through this one. Perk time! Oh, God, there it is again. Why does it feel like something's moving around? Ow! Sorry, I'm having a little bit of, well, not technical issues, but I guess biological issues. Anyways, let's continue. The twins come with their 3 unique perks: Oppression, Hoarder, and Coup de Grace, or Coup de Grace if you're uncultured. Oppression f***ing kicks ass, but I have one minor gripe about it. Oppression makes it so that kicking a generator causes 3 other generators to also start regressing. If a survivor is working on one of these 3 generators when you kick your original gen, they will be faced with a difficult skill check. After this, the perk goes on cooldown for 80 seconds. I love this perk, and taken a lot of the time in tandem with other gen kicking perks, as it acts both passively and actively. It works this way by being a slowdown perk and a tracking perk at the same time. On one hand, regressing other generators that have been worked on just by kicking one saves you a lot of time, and survivors don't usually expect the difficult skill check, so they tend to miss it about 60% of the time. This not only shows you what generator is being worked on, but knocks off some progress with that failed skill check. I think this is a great perk in general, but I feel like the 80 seconds might be a little too long. Yes, it's a powerful effect, but you're also spending a majority of the game chasing survivors anyways. In my personal opinion, I'd probably give it like a minute cooldown or so. Hoarder sucks donkey shit. Don't ever use this perk, it sucks so much dick. All it does is notifies you when someone unlocks a chest or picks up an item. Wow. This used to be only good when playing Pinhead, or other killers who spawn limited items into the trial, but mostly Pinhead for when survivors picked up the Lament configuration. They've just recently removed Hoarder from affecting these limited items though, so there's no f***ing point anymore, just use Weave Attunement, it's far better. Oh, and also this perk spawns 2 more chests for survivors in the trial. I get what they're going at, wanting to get value out of Hoarder, but you're literally giving them more tools to work with. Terrible. F*** you, Hoarder. Lastly, we've got Coup de Grace. This perk is quite fun and useful. What a delightful treat after Hoarder's taste is still in my mouth. Coup de Grace gains 2 tokens whenever a generator is completed, only being able to hold 5 tokens at a time. Next time you lunge, you consume a token to increase your lunge distance up to 80%. This perk is a lot of fun on killers who primarily use their basic attack. The only downside of this perk is if you want to save your lunge for a loop or a situation that would actually call for the increased lunge distance, you have to get right up behind the survivor and then tap to conserve the token. I never understood why Behavior never thought of, I don't know, making the perk only consume a token if your lunge exceeds the normal lunge range? It would make this perk so much better. Okay, something's actually wrong with like my body or something. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go see a doctor after this recording. Let's move on to lore time, shall we? There we are. It's lore time, baby. Lore fact number 1. Did you know that the twins are French? Actually, that's like probably the only thing that people know about them now that I think about it. Lore fact number 2. Did you know that Victor was born more as an appendage to Charlotte? Apparently his lower half and legs are twisted around her organs and such. Hope you're not eating while watching this. Lore fact number 3. Since Victor and Charlotte were born in the 17th century, their mother was considered a witch for birthing these conjoined twins and was hunted and burned alive. Charlotte and Victor were then pretty much on their own after that, fighting for survival and constantly on the run. This is why it feels so fun to kill people as the twins. They deserve it. Yay! Lore fact numero 4. Was that my foot? Cracking. Victor in the game isn't actually the real Victor. As stated in the lore, Victor died while still attached to Charlotte before she was taken by the entity. It is through the entity that we see a new Victor reborn. Ugly and hideous, but alive. Lore fact number 5. After actually giving you a few lore facts, I'm unsure as to why I titled these lore facts when I spend most of them talking about things that aren't lore. I did it again, didn't I? Lore 6 number fact. This killer was the first to have 2 Moris. One version plays when performing a Mori on a survivor when Victor is not with you, and the other plays when performing a Mori on a survivor when Victor is in your stomach hole. Oh, and before you yell at me that Pyramid Head was the first killer to release with 2 Moris, I mean 2 versions of the Memento Mori offering, not a mini Mori built into their power. So f*** you. Lore fact number 7. The twins were actually originally planned on being a pregnant mother and her fetus. I don't think it takes a genius to see why this never went through. Play the clip.
Kick the baby!
And there we have it. The twins. 8 out of 10. That's my rating. Fight me. I've always had a sweet spot for this killer. To be entirely honest, I was that one twins player that consistently played them since release, through thick and thin. Well, mostly thick. I love playing as Victor. It's fun to run around as a little screeching gremlin and pounce on people. It's goofy, and it can make people piss their pants, and who doesn't love that? I've adored this chapter simply for playing as the little runt Victor. However, I've also adored it for the pure concept alone. It was finally time Behavior looked into multiple characters in one that you can swap between. Get Legion off the screen, but there's no denying the lore and character design behind it wasn't phenomenal. Although, admittedly, I'm not the biggest fan of any Twins outfit. Besides that, the power was extremely ambitious for Behavior at the time, no matter how great the idea was. The reason the chapter is bumped down a few ticks for me is the abhorrent state that the characters released in, the multiple bugs they had, and the time it took to finally do something about them. It felt as though the Twins were super heavily neglected by Behavior for a long time, which bums me out extremely. I find going against them fun, playing as them fun, but I feel like I'm still the only one doing it. Please, if you still play the Twins, let me know. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this entry in the 101 series, and I'll see you Oh my god. Oh my god, no, Victor, down, Victor. No, come on, man. Not my setup. Please. Victor, no, not the microphone. Victor, not the microphone!